वेलकम टू वी लर्न में आपका स्वागत है। टुडे सब्जेक्ट अकाउंटेंसी सेकंड और फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग सेकंड, सेशन नंबर 9। टॉपिक रिटायरमेंट और डेथ ऑफ ए पार्टनर। और इस चीज़ को हम जो है रीस्ट्रक्चरिंग ऑफ पार्टनरशिप फर्म कहते हैं। टॉपिक टू बी कवर्ड इन दिस सेशन: इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रिटायरमेंट और डेथ ऑफ पार्टनर, देन न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो। जिस तरह से एडमिशन में रेशियो हम निकालते हैं न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो, उसी तरह से रिटायरमेंट एंड डेथ में भी हमें न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो निकालना होता है। नेक्स्ट इज गेनिंग रेशियो। एडमिशन के टाइम पर हम जो है सेक्रीफाइसिंग रेशियो निकालते हैं, लेकिन यहाँ पर जो है गेन होता है एग्जिस्टिंग पार्टनर को आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट या डेथ ऑफ एनी पार्टनर, तो यहाँ पर गेनिंग रेशियो निकाला जाता है। उसके बाद ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गुडविल लाइक एज एडमिशन, then adjustment for accumulated profit or losses, then adjustment for revaluation of assets and liabilities, then adjustment for unrecorded assets and liabilities, then payment to the retiring partner, then death of a partner, accounting implication, then comprehensive illustration. Introduction. A partner ceases to be a partner on his retirement or death, and as such the amount of claim of the retiring partner or the deceased partner has to be settled by the firm. The problems that arise at the time of retirement of a partner from the firms are: number 1, ascertainment of new profit sharing ratio; number 2, ascertainment of gaining ratio; number 3, treatment of goodwill; number 4, adjustment for revaluation of assets and liabilities; number 5, adjustment in respect of unrecorded assets and liabilities; then adjustment in respect of accumulated profit or losses. Now, new profit sharing ratio. The new profit sharing ratio has to be calculated in the case of retirement or death, since the remaining partners would gain some portions of the retiring or deceased partner's shares of profit. जो पार्टनर रिटायर हो जाता है या जिसकी डेथ हो जाती है, वो अपना रेशियो जो है छोड़ करके जाता है, और उस रेशियो को किसी न किसी पर्टिकुलर या स्पेसिफिक रेशियो में एग्जिस्टिंग पार्टनर बांटते हैं, उसे हम गेनिंग रेशियो कहते हैं। और इट इज़ नेसेसरी टू कैलकुलेट द गेनिंग रेशियो फॉर करेक्ट एवेल्यूएशन ऑफ द न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो एंड फ्यूचरिस्टिक प्रॉफिट्स. So the new profit sharing ratio of each remaining partner will be the sum total of his old share of profit in the firm and the portions of the retiring or deceased partner's share of profits which he has acquired. Number 3, this can be expressed in the form of an equation as under, that new profit sharing ratio is equal to old share plus acquired share. That means जो पुराना शेयर आपका है उसमें रिटायरिंग या डिजीज्ड पार्टनर का जितना शेयर्स आप एक्वायर करते हैं उसको यदि ऐड कर देते हैं तो आपका न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो निकल आता है. न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो 2. व्हेन द न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो ऑफ ए रिमेनिंग पार्टनर्स इज गिवन इन द प्रॉब्लम, देयर इज नथिंग टू कैलकुलेट. बट व्हेन न्यू प्रॉफिट शेयरिंग रेशियो इज नॉट गिवन इन द प्रॉब्लम, it has to be calculated. Sometimes the retirement of one of the partners is given in the problem, but nothing else is in respect of new profit sharing arrangement is indicated. In such a cases, we should delete the retiring partner's share of the profits. So the remaining partner's profit sharing ratio inter se will remain unchanged. Now gaining ratio. Just as we calculated the sacrificing ratio in the cases of admission of a new partner, we have to calculate the gaining ratio at the time of retirement or death of a partner. The gaining ratio of each remaining partner is calculated by deducting the old share of profit from the new share of profit. If only the retirement or death of a partner is stated in the problem, but nothing is given in respect of the new profit sharing ratio or the proportions in which the remaining partners have acquired the outgoing partners' shares of profit, the new profit sharing ratio of the remaining partners will be the old ratio inter se, and the gaining ratio will also be in the same portion. Now, treatment of goodwill. When a partner retires or dies, he is also entitled to his share of goodwill of the firm. For this purpose, we will have to first ascertain the present value of goodwill. Then, based on this, the retiring or deceased partner's share of goodwill will be worked out. The accounting treatment shall, however, depend upon whether goodwill account already appears in books or not. Thus, there are two possibilities. Number one, when goodwill does not appear in the books, and number two, when goodwill appears in the book. ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ गुडविल सेकंड, व्हेन गुडविल डज नॉट अपीयर इन द बुक, जब गुडविल आपकी बैलेंस शीट में पहले से अपीयर नहीं होती है, उस केस में आप क्या करते हैं? व्हेन गुडविल डज नॉट अपीयर इन बुक्स एट ऑल, देयर आर वेरियस वेज ऑफ गिविंग द नेसेसरी क्रेडिट टू द रिटायरिंग पार्टनर फॉर हिज शेयर ऑफ गुडविल. These are discussed below. If goodwill is raised with its full value and retained in the books, the partners may decide to raise goodwill account with its full value and to retain it in the books. If goodwill is raised with its full value and immediately written off after raising the goodwill account for giving due credit to the retiring or deceased partner, the partners may decide to write it off immediately. Treatment of goodwill 3. If goodwill is raised only with the proportionate amount payable to the retiring or deceased partner and immediately written off by the remaining partners in their gaining ratio, the partners may decide to raise goodwill account only with the proportionate amount payable to the retiring or deceased partner and to write it off immediately by the remaining partners in gaining ratio. If no goodwill is raised at all in the book of the firm, when the partners decide not to raise goodwill account at all in the books of the firm and to adjust it directly through their capital accounts, the amount due to the retiring or deceased partner's capital account is credited with the share of goodwill. And now treatment of goodwill 4 or second methods of goodwill when goodwill appears in the books. That means goodwill जो है पहले से बैलेंस शीट के अंदर अपीयर है, उस केस में आप क्या करेंगे? इट इज़ क्वाइट पॉसिबल दैट गुडविल ऑलरेडी अपीयर्स इन द बुक्स. In that case, the adjustment in respect of goodwill on retirement or death of the partner will be limited to the difference between the present value of goodwill and the amount of goodwill already appearing in the books. There can be three possibilities. Number one, if the book value of goodwill is less than the present value. Number two, if the book value of goodwill is more than the present value. And number three, if the book value of goodwill remain the same. And now adjustment for accumulated profit and losses. Sometimes the books of partnership firm may show some accumulated profit in the form of general reserve and profit and loss accounts credit balance and balance sheet. Such accumulated profit should be distributed amongst all the old partners, including the retiring or deceased partner, in their old profit sharing ratios. The general reserve account and or profit and loss account should be debited, and all the partners' capital accounts, including those of the retiring or deceased partners, should be credited in their old profit sharing ratios. Normally, you will find only accumulated profits in the balance sheet of a firm. It is very rare that accumulated losses are carried over to subsequent accounting periods in the cases of partnership firm. But academically, we cannot rule out such a situation. If any accumulated loss appears in the book of a firm, it should be divided amongst all the partners, including the retiring or deceased partners, in their old profit sharing ratio. It should be written off by debiting their capital accounts and crediting the profit and loss accounts. एडजस्टमेंट फॉर रिवैल्यूएशन ऑफ एसेट्स एंड लायबिलिटी. जिस तरह से एडमिशन के टाइम पर एसेट्स एंड लायबिलिटीज़ को हम रिवैल्यू करते हैं, दोबारा से वैल्यू करते हैं, उसी तरह से रिटायरमेंट के टाइम पर भी या डिजीज्ड के टाइम पर भी हमें एसेट्स और लायबिलिटी को रिवैल्यू करना होता है ताकि एक्चुअल प्रॉफिट जो है डिटरमाइन की जा सके. एज ऑन द डेट ऑफ रिटायरमेंट और डेथ ऑफ ए पार्टनर, all assets and liabilities of the firm have to be revalued, and any profit or loss arising therefrom is adjusted in all the partners' capital accounts, including the retiring or deceased partners in their old profit sharing ratio. For the purpose of revaluation of assets and liabilities, a revaluation account is opened and all appreciations and depreciations in the values of fixed assets and current assets and liabilities should be recorded in this account. If there is an increase in the value of assets, such assets should be debited and revaluation account should be credited with the amount of appreciation. Conversely, if there is a decrease in the value of assets, revaluation account should be debited and the concerned account should be credited. Similarly, if there is an increase in the amount of a liability, revaluation account should be debited and the concerned liability account should be credited. And conversely, if there is a reduction in the amount of liabilities, the concerned liability account should be debited and revaluation account should be credited. If it is desired to make a provision for some probable losses in future, such as provision for doubtful debts or contingent liability, revaluation account should be debited. Adjustment for unrecorded assets and liabilities. There may be some unrecorded assets or liabilities at the time of retirement. Such unrecorded assets and liabilities must be brought into book of accounts through the revaluation account. If there is an unrecorded assets at the time of retirement, such assets should be debited and the revaluation account should be credited. Such recording will benefit all the partners of the firm as their capital accounts shall get credited through revaluation profits. Similarly, if there is an unrecorded liability, revaluation account should be debited and the concerned liability account should be credited. Payment to the retiring partner. When a partner retires from business, his claim against the firm is determined by preparing his capital accounts, incorporating therein all the adjustment in respect of his share of goodwill, accumulated profits or losses, profit or loss on revaluation of assets and liability, etc. Now the settlement of the claim depends on the provision of the partnership deed. If nothing is given in the problem to be solved in respect of settlement of claim, the amount of claim is usually transferred to the retiring partner's loan account, for which the following entry is passed. Retiring partner's capital account debit to remaining retiring partner's loan account. Payment to be retiring partner's again. Payment of full amount due. If the full amount of claim is payable to the retiring partner on the date of retirement as per agreement, the amount will not be transferred to loan account but will be paid in cash or by check. The necessary entry for illustration in this respect will be C's capital account debit. Suppose C's is a retiring partner, so C's capital account debit by rupees 48,800, it is an imaginary figure, and to बैंक अकाउंट 48,800. अगर कोई भी फिगर इस तरह से लोन अकाउंट के अंदर आता है तो उसको इस तरह से हम इंटर करते हैं. पेमेंट टू द रिटायरिंग पार्टनर्स 3. पेमेंट इन इक्वल इंस्टॉलमेंट, फिक्स्ड इंटरवल and the unpaid balance earning interest. So if the partners agrees to make payment in equal installments at regular intervals and the unpaid balance is allowed to earn a fixed rate of interest, the total amount of claim or the amount as reduced by the amount of cash paid in the time of retirement should be transferred to the retiring partner's loan account. Payment to the retiring partners 4. Payment of the amount due in equal installment plus interest on unpaid balance. Sometimes the partners decide to pay the outstanding amount of claim after initial payment in equal installment plus interest on unpaid balance added thereto at regular intervals. Payment of outstanding amount of claim in equal installment including interest. Sometimes the partners decide to pay the outstanding amount of claim in equal installment including interest. In such a case, the present value of future payment at regular intervals will have to be calculated first at the given rate of interest. Death of a partner, accounting implication. Partnership stand dissolved on the death of a partner. The right of the legal representatives of the deceased partners depend on the provisions of the partnership deed. The claim of deceased partners is determined as per the provision of the partnership deed, which is normally purchased by the surviving partners, and they continue to carry on the business as usual. The claim of the deceased partner is either paid immediately or transferred to loan account in the name of his legal representatives. Death of partners, accounting implication 2. The claim is usually determined on the same basis as that of a retired partner, taking into account his share in the accumulated profits of the firm, goodwill, profit and loss on revaluation of assets and liabilities, and so on. The only difference is that retirement normally takes place at the end of the accounting period, whereas death can occur at any time. Hence, in the case of the death of a partner, his claim shall include his share in the profits of the firm up to the date of death, interest on his capital up to the date of death, share in the proceeds of joint life policy in addition to his share in the accumulated profit, goodwills, etc. Death of a partner, accounting implication 3. Ascertainment of shares of profits or losses up to the date of retirement or death. A partner may retire or die on any date which is not the date of final accounts. On the basis of time, on the basis of average profit of certain years, calculation of profit is based on the average annual profit for the past few years, say 3 to 5 years. Then the profit for the proportionate period is found out. On the basis of last year's profit, calculation of profit is based on the last year's profit. Death of partners, accounting implication 4. On the basis of turnover, calculation of profit is based on turnover. For example, A, B and C are partners sharing profits and losses in the ratio of 2:1:1. B dies on March 1st, 1988. Sales for the year 1988 amount to rupees 80,000, out of which rupees 25,000 are for a period from January 1st, 1988 to March 1st, 1988. The profits for the year are rupees 40,000. Then profits up to the date of B's death equal to 25,000 divided by 80,000 multiplied by 40,000, which is equal to 12,500. So B's share of profit 12,500 multiply 114, which is equal to 3125. Death of partners, accounting implication 5. Settlement of executor's account. After the death of a partner, the total amount due to him is transferred to his executor's account and paid off as per the provisions of the partnership deed immediately or in installment together with interest on the unpaid balance. As explained earlier, the amount due to the deceased partner should include the amount standing to the credit of his capital account, a share in the accumulated profit, goodwill, joint life policy if any, profit on revaluation of assets or liabilities, etc. Now, death of a partner, accounting implication 6, joint life policy. Joint life policy refers to an insurance policy taken out by the partnership firm on the joint lives of all the partners. The amount of such a policy is payable by the insurance company either on death of any partner or on maturity, whichever is earlier. The main objective behind taking out such a policy by the partnership firm is to mobilize funds to settle the claim of deceased partners in case of death of a partner without affecting the working capital of the business. Now do it yourself. Question number 1. Calculate new profit sharing ratio and gaining ratio from the following problems. Problem number A. X, Y and Z are partners sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. Y retires. His share has been taken by X and Z in the ratio of 2:1. Now problem number 2 or B. X, Y, Z are equal partners. Z retires and surrenders 3 by 4th of his shares in favor of X and 1 by 4th share in favor of Y. Question number 2. What is the accounting treatment for unrecorded assets and liabilities at the time of retirement of a partners? And that's it from session number 9. Thank you.